situation in Chicago.
IntellectualRadio.com.
Maybe call and tell us your best job, worst job, thankful.
Yeah, tell us about your rent situation.
5, 4, 3, 2. Hey everybody, welcome to Chi-Rize on IntellectualRadio.com. Thanks for listening and downloading this broadcast wherever you're at, whether you're listening on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeart, Spotify, or YouTube, or Facebook Live. We all got our lives going right now. We on everybody's page. I'm here with my brothers Bob and Ernest.
Yep.
And
live on live.
So thanks for
John Young, what's up?
I'm Benita, one of the fellow hosts. We are going to talk with you all today about several different things.
Yeah.
But one of the things that last week we talked about Stephen A. Smith, and then I saw him defend
this guy.
saw him recently defend whether or not he's black enough. So
yeah, I love that. I mean, yeah, I thought that was an interesting comment. He got a little offended too. I'm from the streets. I'm in the streets every day. What streets you talking about, bro? On your way to ESPN Studios streets?
Well, one of my buddies told me one time, he's like, when I was saying that, he was like, man, nah, brother, you ain't from that. You know what I'm saying? You might have been from the hood, but you ain't from the streets. It's a difference.
Definitely.
Some cats from the streets, when they wake up in the morning, whatever they got in their pocket, whatever money they earn, that's how they live.
Right.
And I said, well, okay. I said, I guess I'm from the hood.
Right. From the hood. I ain't in these streets. Believe you me, I'm not in these streets.
I ain't in these streets.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I wanted to just kind of share that with y'all in case you missed it. Most folks probably saw that already though.
No,
but
I'm not assuming.
I was about to say because I didn't see it. I definitely didn't see it until you get sent it to me. Because I was like, "What you talking about, Stephen?"
Okay, how did I come across it? I think maybe somebody might have shared it with me in my inbox or something like that. But
all right, so as a matter of fact, let's just get into that piece. All right, because I know we wanted to do what you're grateful for, but maybe we need to just get a little hot fire, guideline going. First of all, I see Stephen A's strategy. Okay, what he does. First of all, he was talking about Cap. Hey, you got two brothers up here. You got brothers and sisters all around the country in the media going at each other, on your behalf. Right. So he says something like that. He couches his arguments and things. But then he arrives at he makes these really major judgments or assumptions about what Cap is doing. He was like, yeah, Cap is not willing to stand up for himself. What, Stephen A., how do you know that? And then why are you asserting that in a way where you willing to cut this man T.O. off while he was talking, right? So T.O. was making a point about, it being unfair when you get to a point, because all of us have gotten to a point. I went and got storage today. I got to the storage place, then they hit me with where you have to get insurance. Well, who is the insurance through? We don't know. It's on the brochure. Well, what's the declaration pay? I don't know. So they want me to sign up for something that I don't know. So and Stephen A. makes a good point. Well, you've done that in your career about having to, do things in the fly. But again, my point is still the same. Cap is in a unique position to be able to call out how that is flagrant, how that is wrong. Now, I'm not saying that, everybody should be doing that. But what I'm saying is that he's in a unique position to call attention to that and to criticize him for that when he has the opportunity to do that. It makes it sound like Stephen A. can't see that this is a new age, that this is a new age brother, and he's put in a position where he can do something different.
Right. Well, it all depends on how you look at the situation. We don't know how Colin Kaepernick looks at the opportunity of playing in the NFL. True. We don't know what part of his, what you call, economic hustle that is. Because we got to have more than one stream of economic hustle. We don't know what that means for him. But if that is something that he is using to be a part of his economic hustle, then if you really want that to be a part of it, what are you doing to get into it? That's what I think Stephen A. was saying. So if you was to look at that and say, okay, well, I ain't gonna say that's what I think he's saying, because I can't speak for all that stuff he said.
Yeah, because he was
because that ain't what I'm trying to say. What I am trying to say is that a point of emphasis that I picked up on.
Okay,
is about if you're using the NFL as a part of your economic hustle, it's called opportunity. How do you present yourself for it? I think that's what Stephen A. Smith.
What do you say, Benita? What did you get from it?
What I got from that last clip the in case you missed it part, like what came afterwards. What I got from that was a brother. I'm sorry, I don't know his name. What's the other brother's name though?
T.O.
Yeah.
Terrell Owens.
So yeah,
Terrell.
he was just saying, he was like, look, bro, you kind of looked like you was not being real black. And so, and then
He
when
said Max Kellerman is more black. Yeah. And you, we don't invite him to the black people barbecue before you. You know, I'm like, yeah, that's Kellerman.
So that,
he was over the top.
Yeah. But you know what he said though, but what T.O. said was that that's what he's been hearing around the hood. He's like, man, I'm in the streets and this is what they saying about you, bro. Right. You know?
Yeah.
I'm in these streets. They ain't saying it to my face.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but the thing is though, right before it was like at the last, if you catch that comment, when you look at it later on, I don't know if you got time, later on you look at it. It's this one comment Max Kellerman makes though. It's this one little comment he makes
at the very end.
It's very powerful.
I didn't get that.
He said, I'm not gonna give my privilege up. That's what he said.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
See, you look at that same clip.
I think it comes like it's like the clip right after that.
He was honest, man. He was honest, like, but we just brushed over that part of what he said. He's like, I'm not gonna get my privilege up.
We watched the same video because I didn't
get that. It's at the end though, because
there's another video that comes immediately afterwards, I think.
Okay. Well, I think it's the same video. I just think at the end, when we watch the video, you just put so much emphasis on what Stephen A is saying. It's at the end, but he's beginning to go into his commentary. But that was the first comment he made to his commentary. Okay. Yeah, but they cut the video off. But like, I'm not gonna get my privilege up. That was the first thing he said. I ain't gonna give it up. You know. Anyway, back to your point though, when you was about to make a point.
So then after that, you know, he just defended it, and I just wanted, because I know one of the things that we talked about last week was how we were feeling about him, and we kind of had a similar sentiment that T.O. said that everybody in the streets was saying, and I remember you, Bob, saying, hold on, wait a second, I think that he's trying to say this, and even though folks are receiving that, I think that he's trying to say this, and you were saying that he was trying to say something else, like about the opportunity. So I thought that it was nice for us to kind of, you know,
touch on the subject.
Just touch on it to say, hey, he did defend. Check me out. I am black. I gave the man a chance to come and sit at my table. You know, I invited him to come and talk unedited for 2 hours or something like that. You know, he defended all of that. So, but I don't know. I'm not a fly on the man's wall. So,
first of all, I wouldn't be in the studio with Stephen A. I wouldn't have a conversation with him.
He yells all the time.
He yelled too much. It's too triggering for me. You know what I'm saying? He says things over and over again. He cut T.O. off twice. I don't like that.
And T.O. was like, cut me off. Real kind of his T.O.'s voice was not threatening.
No, it wasn't. I don't like that. You cut me off. I don't understand how you're going to understand me if you cut me off, especially my full thought. Like, how do you get to an understanding of that? Well, let me stop you. Let me stop you. No, bro, we're not about to have no conversation like that. So I don't trust Stephen A. And more than likely, Cap doesn't trust him either. So, which would make sense. I wouldn't go on a show so that way you can besmirch me and make me look like a fool. No way. I mean, and then to criticize him for not coming on your show, and he's not coming on anybody's show, and he doesn't. Maybe the man just doesn't want to talk about it. Maybe his statement was enough. What he did, his actions were enough. He's not a talker like you, maybe. He takes a news conference and he doesn't take any questions. That's his right to do that, man. And to criticize him for doing that, in my judgment, Stephen A. is acting like a white supremacist. You know what I'm saying? Acting like, because you act like you don't understand, bro.
I think when it comes to liberated opinion, I think blacks in America, we do flirt with coonery, being a coon.
Flirt, yeah.
We flirt with it because when liberty, because we're trying to emulate liberty. We're trying to emulate the liberty of an established supremacy. That's what we're doing. So we flirt with it, by even when we give our opinions on movements like a Colin Kaepernick, when we place our opinions on that, like a Colin Kaepernick, in the sense that, we cannot recognize what he's trying to establish, is what I'm pointing.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Based off the liberty of our opinion.
I agree.
We can't recognize it sometimes. Yeah. And so that we flirt with it. We flirt with being, somebody who will blast a black person or blast somebody who is really doing something positive. That's just my opinion,
No, that's a good one, brother.
Tariq, what's his name? Tariq, he does it a lot to me. When I listen to Tariq,
Yeah,
he does it a lot.
Wow.
Even though he's being himself, just off of.
Well, see, what Tariq does to me, Bob, is he talk about people a lot. Like,
right.
But that's kind of a regular. We've done that most of our lives.
Right.
I don't know. I don't.
But
I haven't
from
read
the standpoint
like
of not understanding.
Narratives, I haven't read anything like saying slave narratives that say that we did that. But I know as long as I've been on Earth, that's been about our only resource. Like we don't have a lot of land, we don't have a lot of money. We have money, but we don't have it in a collective way. We're not using it at least in a collective way. But one thing I do see us doing in a collective way is talking about people. Like, for instance, remember when Birdman was like, put some respect on my name, right? You remember how we clowned him all over social media?
Right.
And so we had that man looking so bad, like he lost so much respect. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like people didn't even look at him the same anymore. Like
they ain't look at him the same no more. You talking about Birdman?
Yeah, remember when he was like,
brushed into a Breakfast Club like that?
Yeah, but remember when he was
we
like,
ain't put no respect on his. They hey, I got too excited. Like they lost a lot of respect for him because he ain't no real goon the way he did it.
What did he do?
It's like basically, they were saying, he had a little rumors going on around his name, and he rushed to the Breakfast Club, folded his hands. He folded his hands, came in there like, y'all gonna put some respect on my name. And they were like, what are you talking about, Birdman? You here to talk about, y'all gonna put some respect on my name, you watch what you say out your mouth. I become. So my point in saying that to you.
And then did you see all of the different memes and little gifs
I do remember that.
videos and they had made real dancing videos, like clowning videos and stuff, and it just kept saying, put some on my name.
The point I'm making is when you about that business, if you about that, you don't your presentation is not like that. That's why Birdman got clowned.
I got you.
The point that I'm making though is that the community gathered together to clown this man.
Okay, but I don't agree with that though. I don't agree, especially with Tyreek, right? Because Tyreek did something really off the chain this past week, where he put out a Twitter post about ADOS, saying that they were some line A niggas in Byron Allen, talking about the 1866 Comcast piece, and he put that out before P. Diddy came out with his comment, right? So now he's looking kind of foolish because it's like you trying to clown them for going for this piece, and then now you got people who substantiate what Byron Allen is saying, that Comcast is cheating black networks, but you trying to make it sound like they on some old, just trying to make a name for themselves. So Tyreek got to put his foot in his mouth in that particular case. So that's my point in clowning people, which again, Lily Fuller, that's one of the codes. That's something that we should not do. We should not clown each other in public, period. Because what it does is it sows untrust. Well, no, what that wouldn't be the right word. Untrust. What would it be? When the lack of trust, right? So it doesn't build trust when we talk about each other like that. Because for one, it's just like Stephen A. Stephen A. don't know what Cap is thinking, but because he gets paid for doing that, he and he's good at doing it. Clearly, he is at talking about people and coming up with these fictitious reasons why making people believe that that's the reason why he do it. He's good at that, so that's why he gets paid by them to do that. But I don't agree with that role. For me, that's a trustee. You're a trustee. Right. You know what I'm saying? When you do stuff like that.
Right. You're on the clock. You're on the clock. Once you get on the clock, you in a position like Stephen A., you're on the clock. And what you got to say? You're on the clock. You got before you even able to calculate it. That's one of the things to me we need to get away from. We need to quit trying to win what you will call emotional response wars. Okay. We just all these emotional response wars. Like, what you say? Right. Sometimes it takes a minute to really dissect what a person is saying. Sometimes it takes more than a day. Yeah. Sometimes it takes
really hit you.
For it to really hit you. It's like my mom used to always tell me, do a lot of things when she was raising us, right? But it didn't even hit me what she was saying until I had kids and became a parent once they got into the age of awareness. When they got to the age of awareness and a situation hit, it made me realize, man, I just not realized what she was talking about. That was almost, 20 years later. Yeah. So sometimes we got to give some flexibility to act like Kaepernick just to keep it on subject. Kaepernick puts an act out there, or Stephen A. responds to it. We got to give room for both point of views before we just slam either, because all of us are from different levels of exposure.
Sure.
All of us are. The way segregation has occurred in our history, it got us learning life in different ways. So our perspective was different. My son went to school at IMSA High School. You know, my other son went to school at Bloom.
What was the first one?
IMSA, Illinois Math and Science Academy.
Okay.
It's a STEM school in Aurora.
Gotcha.
Okay, so when kids go to high school up there, their exposure and what they learn is different. So we got to give them room and flexibility to hit them out, to see what their perspective is on what they mean by opportunity, the word called opportunity, what they mean. We just so microwave quick.
Yeah.
Boom.
Quick, right.
That's how I see
assumptions.
it. Yeah, assumptions.
Assumptions. And they're your assumptions. They're my assumptions. And I'm assuming what you mean. And I'm jumping off into telling you what you mean.
Yeah, right.
So I'm gonna tell you what you mean,
right.
And I'm gonna go off of that. And now I'm creating this kind of, rift or fray with you because of what I think you mean without clarifying. That's why, kind of like last week when we talked about the emotions, clarifying. So what do you mean when you say that, Stephen? Like even when Terrell said that about him, man, you acting. Max act more black than you. What, again, so what do you mean when you say that? Because again, he was like, well, you being disrespectful. T.O. was like, I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just tongue in cheek. You talking all big and tough. You telling me what I'm doing and what I didn't do. And now I say something about you and challenge you. Now you all, acting all, you see what I'm saying? So you don't even know what I mean.
T.O. seemed like he was sent there to say that statement. It was his.
Did you pick that up? I did. I've never seen T.O. that composed.
I know.
Never.
I know. I
was
like, this dude is really
never, bro.
I said, this dude is under control.
Yeah, he was using words like, hold on, T.O.
And what Stephen A. was saying at the time, you cannot act like you didn't understand it. Right?
That's true.
What he was saying, the point he was making at that moment. And then T.O. was like, forget all that, man. You seen, man, Max seen more black than you. It was like, he was sent there to say that.
He was like,
he was premeditated to say that.
In the streets, this is what they saying.
Jason Perry says, be quick to hear and slow to speak, slow to anger.
Yeah, true. That's the scripture right there. That's Proverbs.
Mm-hmm.
Be slow to speak. Because, again, when I do talk therapy with people, right, I always say to them, you don't have to respond when somebody is saying stuff to you. Just stop. You know what I'm saying? Because I know to make a person uncomfortable, especially when it's just a one-on-one exchange and they say something, they're trying to convince you, and you just kind of look at them, that makes them continue to keep talking.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
I use that tactic a lot.
So that's how it works. So it makes people uncomfortable. Then they start to say things. They start to get beyond the BS. And then they start to ramble. And then you can see how they're not really prepared for you. And then that way you can okay.
It'll make them uncomfortable though.
Yeah.
What will make them uncomfortable?
Your silence.
Your silence.
Especially when if there's any parents going into the school system and they're trying to get or anytime a parent is trying to advocate for their child within the school system or any of these systems, I think it's very important for them to not talk a lot, to be very quiet. But a lot of times, they'll come in and they'll just talk, just run.
Yeah,
the mouth will just be running. And I think the mouth runs because out of nervousness or uncomfortable, they might be a little uncomfortable. You're around all these professionals and they have your child and you don't know exactly what's going on or what they're doing to your child or your child is getting in trouble a lot. And so then sometimes you might be embarrassed. So there's a lot of different feelings that I think parents are having that's causing them to do all that talking. But when they do the talking like that, what I notice is that they just dig a deeper grave for themselves.
Yes.
Because then they end up revealing information that I think that is really none of the school's business.
True.
And then once that information is out there,
Before you do that though, I got to drop in what Ron Lawless say. See, y'all see, we got difference in friends. Y'all friends had their real names on Facebook. See, my friends from back in the day, they got part of their real name. Anyway, Ron, he say, look, T.O. was bogus for saying that. He was saying some stuff just don't need to be said on TV. And that's part of the code.
Right.
That's the Neely for the code.
Right.
Because he shouldn't have said, dude, because that's a low blow for one.
Right.
Because that make me want to fight you on TV.
Well, and that was kind the way he responded.
It was. I guess I can
Yo,
understand
Stephen
that.
did respond like
Well,
that.
sometimes we get like that in case people. But what I'm saying is, remember when we was going running around talking about Bill Clinton, the first black president?
True.
Shut that type of language up.
That's goofy.
Shut up with all that type of stuff.
That's
Just you feel some type of way about, oh man, this one, he can play the saxophone.
Yeah, that's
you know what I'm saying?
That's goofy.
You know, he got his ears pierced. Like, you know, come on now, like, shut up. That type of talk.
Right.
You know, liberation should have a limit with wisdom.
And our standard to be
know?
black is way beyond, playing a saxophone. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and smoking weed. Come on, man. But anyway, we was gonna.
Well, the question, the point is like, let's just share with us. Call in number 708-223-8953. Call in and tell us about a situation when you learned to be slow to anger. Slow to anger. When you learn to be slow to anger, what was your saying? When you get slow to anger. When did you learn to be? But one, Benita always telling us about the situation when she had to be slow to anger. Yeah, when you had to be slow to anger. When you actually.
I remember one of my first times recognizing that I had that strength was when we were working with a parent at the school, and after it was all over with, the nurse had said, "Wow, you handled that." Like, I complimented the nurse. I said, "Wow, you handled that really well." And then she's like, "Me, you're like the Zen master of calm." And I had never recognized that within me until she pointed it out. This was maybe about 15 years ago when I was at work. And so then I built upon that, and I just kept stroking that within me. And I was like, yeah, I am, like that kind of thing.
That's a good quality though, because I mean that saves you won't have them nigga moments. A nigga moment. You just you having a calm conversation. The next thing you know, y'all on 10, chairs moving and everything. I've been at workplaces, man. I was working for I can't remember the name. It was a Baptist something. We were doing case management for DCFS, man. And one of the managers and one of my fellow case managers ended up like straight fighting in the office, like in the cubicles, man, moving cubicles, like straight up fighting. It was just out of nowhere, man. I have no idea to this point, like why they were fighting, but I mean, it's like for real at work with suits on. For what?
Yeah.
That's funny. I had a moment when I first joined the military, and I was at a station, and I had to wait on the other person to relieve me. So I didn't see this guy. It was taking too long. I was brand new in the military, so I dipped off. And so my master chief caught up with me, you know what I'm saying, because of that dip off. Man, he lit it to me so hard, man. This is the first time I ever got chastised by any other man other than my father. You know what I mean? I had to sit there and take it, man. You talk about, some tears came down my eyes. This is a confessional moment right here with me. I got scarred. You know what I'm saying? I mean, dude, I was like, man, I had to
like Richard Gere and what was that movie?
Certain the gentleman.
Gentleman. Yeah. What was that?
Officer
and the Gentleman.
Yeah.
Officer and the
I have nowhere else to go. I have nowhere else to go.
Hey, man. But that was like a moment when I thought I was can get away with putting out these expressions of anger towards somebody. But then, I had a humble reality. I had to take that joke, walk away with it. Wow. Call in number 708-223.
Yeah.
We got some museum tickets for Christmas around the world. We got 8 tickets we giving away today. So when you call in and share your story, we'll give you a ticket. This is for Chicago residents though, because you can't be calling from Ghana, Kenya, expecting to get these tickets by this date of 11:30. You can call it though.
Yeah, call in.
You might not be able to.
We're gonna give some tickets away.
I can verify. Christmas around the world. Excellent.
You can read the benefits of it. It's the benefits on the ticket.
Can I resell it?
You already know.
StubHub.com.
Right.
There we go.
So each ticket has one Explore ticket includes the museum entry plus one of the following special experiences: the Coal Mine U505.
Oh, you mean in the Coal Mine, bro?
Yes, or OmniMax Film or Future Energy of Chicago. So call in 708-223. Share your story all the time when you got angry and you had to maintain your instructional control. Yeah, I know you want to talk about Byron Allen, so go ahead.
Yeah, let's get into that. I've been waiting on that.
Did we say what we're thankful for? Or we don't,
Okay.
we don't need to.
Well,
Okay.
I mean,
Well, of course, I'm thankful for family, love, and hope, and strength, and justice. Okay.
You know what I'm grateful
All the good
for?
stuff.
I'm grateful for good health. Man, because to not have good health
Yes, sir.
is a boy. So I'm grateful for good health, feeling strong today.
I'm thankful for
Hallelujah.
the liberty to really build on worldview. That's what I'm thankful for this year. It's just worldview. Worldview is really important to me at this stage of my life. I think it changes the way you think about life and your circumstance you're standing in. So any chance I get to experience something outside of my circle I'm standing in is very exciting to me. It is very exciting.
That was profound.
Man, I'm pretty deep, man.
Well,
I get
yeah.
lucky at time. I got Hail Mary jumpers everywhere, man.
Ooh, Craig Hodges in this one. Shooting behind the
shot.
way behind the three. What was that?
I probably have to rewind it. What he said, think
Oh.
on it.
Oh, okay.
She wasn't listening.
My guy Anthony on here. You still in Texas, bro? He said he thanks the Most High for everything, good, even the bad, because the bad teaches valuable lessons.
Oh, that's cool.
I can't argue with you on that one, brother. That's truth. We always say that. Learn from the bad. I ain't gonna never do that again as a result of that. So that's a real big piece there. Very grateful for that.
Few shots out. My man, John Clifton Anderson, Jonathan Clifton. What's going on, man? Kelvin Easter, how you doing, man? That's one of my buddies I traveled to Nairobi with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, he's
Pastor.
a Bentu brother.
Yeah, he's a big man. That's the big man. That's a big dog.
Bentu.
Miss Sabre Moore, how you doing? Wanda B, what's up?
Wanted to be watching you live. Really? Get out of here, man.
I'm saying.
It's a true fan. She in the place and watching. you
Yeah,
live.
she
That's
is
love.
real helpful.
Is my video
and
going?
supportive. I think she shared mine one time
Yours,
too.
Benita. I would share it. I can't find it.
Yeah, you had shared mine once before. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Are you live now?
I am. I got some comments on my thing. I just noticed
Ooh,
I
that.
gotta
What's
say
going on?
this.
How you doing?
I gotta say this with EJ
Okay,
Disrow.
okay.
EJ Disrow. She said that she was recently privileged to use the strategy of restraint when she had a parent-teacher conference, and her son's advisory teacher made the remark that her son didn't look like he was a diverse learner, which to me was an insult and something that an educator should have never said to a parent of a child with a learning disability. But instead of popping off, I used it as a teaching moment. It's strategic because I understand I would have lost the credibility that I needed to deal with her going forward. That's hot, E. Thanks for sharing that. Because you're right. When you do snap off, you do lose your credibility when you're dealing with those teachers. So we got a call in. Somebody wants some tickets.
Did I just hang up on you?
I think you did.
Hello?
You did.
Hello.
Hi. I'm so glad I didn't hang up on you. Hi, this is you're on Chi-Rize with Benita, Bob, and Ernest. What's your name?
Hey, it's Ursula.
Hey, Ursula. Thanks for calling in, sis.
Ursula, thanks for calling in.
Hey. Hey, listen, I was going to share with you all a brief story about the last time I really had to hold my emotions and really dial up on the emotional IQ.
Okay.
And it had to do with a tenant. I recently got a building in the beautiful neighborhood of Inglewood. And it's beautiful because there's so many Black people. I mean, it's probably one of the last bastions of highly concentrated Black people in America.
Okay.
So, anywho, went up to the second floor to do the walkthrough. And upon entering the apartment, I saw, a couple little toddlers running around barefoot with, Pampers on. I saw, mattresses and box springs on the floor in the dining room and the living room with no linen. I saw broken windows. Now, mind you, this building was a gift. I was asked to take over this building. The people are like 85 and 84. The building had gotten away from them maintenance-wise. And they had just kind of was getting ready to walk away from it and was about to go into foreclosure. So I had no previous experience with this particular building before. And so I went back to the kitchen and The main thing is you're talking about abject poverty right in your face. Okay, you're talking about grown folks in the middle of a weekday just walking around with nothing to do, and these people had not paid any rent in like 6 months. So the previous owners had already told me about what the situation was. So I got angry at the system that exists that wraps itself around our necks as Black people and drags. I really wasn't interested as much as, how did they get in this situation or what brought this upon them, and the bootstraps there on the boots, did they even have boots on? None of that. I was just so furious. I had to go out on the back porch and I literally cried. I literally cried because it's like I don't have to go to a third world country. We still have very much poverty right here in our community. So then comes, you're the landlady and, you can put these people out and give them a 5-day notice. They don't have nothing. Come to find out, they damn near squatters. They came from another building in Inglewood where they were getting put out, so these are, professional tenants. And so I got angry because even though it's a gift, I want to give them a certain amount of time to get themselves together, but it's probably going to end up in court. And so then I'm, upset again. But I was really upset because I've never seen poverty like that before in my life. And I've never seen it right there in your face. I mean, the apartment's funky, it's clothes everywhere, clothes on the floor, people sleeping on mattresses, and this is what we need. So we're going to clean it up. The building is coming back online. I'm making a lot of improvements. But that's the last time I had to hold in my anger, but I actually ended up crying because it was so bad and the babies were in there. But I thought I would share more about a compassionate anger more than like somebody did something to me directly, but it was deep.
No, I feel that. I can definitely, that resonates with me. Thank you for sharing that story as well. How do we get these tickets to you?
I can take
Oh, Benita got me.
Okay.
I'm the Benita.
All right.
Yeah, I got you, sis.
So you got 2 tickets. That was the first one. We gave 2 tickets
Thank
away.
you.
Yeah.
Miss Ursula for calling, sharing her story.
That's love.
Thank you.
Really appreciate
Thank you
that.
so
And
much.
keep doing that good work too.
Yeah,
Keep doing that good.
Do you wish you would have lost control though? Do you wish you would have lost control for a minute? Just snapped.
I wish I could have lost control about seeing the children in the situation who have no choice. They're born into this situation. I wish I could have lost control about uplifting the children and women first. So I was just like, I wanted to pick the babies up, run to Target, get them some clothes, some pampers, but then I realized that's just a drop in the bucket. So what I can do is give their parents some time to get their finances together. I can do that.
True.
Well, thanks for your call.
Yeah.
Good work.
Thanks for your call.
Good work.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you, sis, for the compassion.
Just the reason why I asked her that awkward question. You know what I'm saying? Dude, it is an awkward question. Because sometimes it doesn't feel like there's a certain level of energy that you need to be expressed to get certain points off or to get certain things done. Certain energy you need to express.
I know what you're talking about. I remember at work talking with a parent one time. She just didn't know how to. She was really good with her babies, but by the time her children got to be teenagers or preteens, it was a little bit harder for her. And she was giving up on them. And I had built up a relationship with her to the point where I felt comfortable being a little bit harder. And I remember when I was talking with her, I had banged my hand on the desk. I was like, you got to get this together. Something like that I did. But, sometimes you can go there, but you can only, I think, in my opinion, go there once you build up that relationship.
Yeah, well,
And I mean, it's your first time meeting your tenant. And,
True.
and the other thing, too, the tenant may not see their situation as bad as she sees their situation, because she has a different set of access and resources and that kind of thing. So, like she said, that was her first time ever seeing that. But I've got plenty of family members and friends. I mean, I've seen situations like that. Matter of fact, me myself have been in situations like that where I didn't have a what do you call it? A box. I'm sleeping on the box spring or sleeping on the mattress. I had one.
You had linen though, right? Linen on your
Yeah, but
mattress.
I
That's the
did.
difference.
There was maybe a moment when we didn't,
Oh, really? Okay.
like there would
Okay.
be maybe for like the first
I
month
mean,
or two
while you
or
was out
something,
washing the current linen, you didn't have linen.
or I might have only had one set,
One set. Yeah,
and that one set was beady.
I got you. Yeah. So see, that's the difference when you don't have it at all, though.
Yeah,
Like when you just sleeping on a mattress, period, and that mattress is black because
because you've never had
I've
linen
put
on
people
it.
out like that. We used to do the evictions. I mean, R. Kelly's brother. That was the situation. Like, dude, like this R. Kelly's brother living like this. Yeah, that was rough. To see him, in that kind of situation. But no, it was horrible, disgusting.
Just in case you're just joining, we were just talking about, was talking about the Stephen A. Smith, T.O. encounter,
Oh,
based off of the Colin Kaepernick story. And he brought us to a question about emotions, just organically flowed off us about emotions. What situations you've had that made you control your emotions or make you restrain yourself from those emotions. And we're giving away free tickets today. You just gave away 2 tickets for your call in. 708-223-8953. 708-223-8953. Benita, take us to the Byron Allen. Benita, Applebum.
Yep.
Byron Allen is this.
Did you like the way she said that name, man? It was like a person. Y'all got a personal relationship. You gotta watch Benita. Well, she got that. I ain't gonna say it on here. I'll be in HR's office.
But no, Tone Duncan.
So anyway, Byron Allen, what's up with this guy? What is he doing?
Something else though we wanted to talk about in addition to Byron Allen that kind of goes along with it and also goes along with our last caller is that the rent prices in the city of Chicago are so high that even if you were on minimum wage, it'd be hard for you to, make your rent payment.
Yeah.
Even if you were getting that minimum wage.
I live in 2-bedroom, and there's 8 of us live there. It's 2-bedroom.
8 people in your 2-bedroom.
Yes.
4 in the
Seriously?
You got a half a bath. You got a half a bath.
Stop it, man. You living like the Harlem Renaissance.
Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So Byron Allen, the TV mogul, or I don't know how we want to describe him, but he's been buying up all kinds of different news networks. The first time I heard about him was when he bought the Weather Channel, and I was like all excited, like, man, a black guy owns the Weather Channel now.
Right.
And so then he's moved on and he's bought other channels. And then he went to he started feeling like he was being discriminated against. And so he put out that court. And so he took it to court. And I think that at the
9th district, he won at the 9th district level.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he did that. He was successful. And so that's where we are with the Byron Allen thing right now. But what does that mean to us?
Good question. Good question.
Is really, I think, more of what we want to talk about here.
And I'm sorry, let me just backtrack a little bit because you brought up the rent piece, and I just did a little calculation. So if you're making $15 an hour, working 40 hours a week, every month you're bringing in $2,400, and that's
15
that would be the new minimum wage.
It's new. It's not even there yet now.
And that's 2021.
Right. Once it
That's 2021.
Yeah.
Right. But let's look at that, right? Let's look at that. So that's 1920 after 20%. Okay. The average rent in Chicago is $1,925. That's the average rent, right?
Is how much?
$1,925. That's the average rent in Chicago.
Really?
That's it. And when I Google,
okay.
Right? But I look at not the average what black people pay though. You know what I'm saying? Like that would be around $1,200, $900, right? So between
but seriously though, I remember that
look at that number though.
Average market rent when I first moved back to Chicago as an adult, it was $1,200 for a 3-bedroom.
Yeah, and that's higher than that now. That's
it's got to be because that was in 1997.
Yeah, that's 15, 17 now for a 3-bedroom, and that's Southside too. That's in the hood. That's Inglewood. 1,500.
This is Lawndale. This is hood,
okay,
right?
Yeah. So you think about it though, $1,900 after taxes, and you paying $1,200. That's $700 left in travel, food. So you gotta be on some old hustling type stuff, right? Or,
Or you gotta lie, say you don't live with your family, you you gotta, or maybe you can get some Section 8, or you get the Section 8 and we all come stay with you.
right.
As again, I keep going back to my days of being a school social worker. And as a school social worker, almost everybody in the building fits the homeless definition.
Right.
The federal definition of homelessness is anytime your name is not on the lease.
Right.
So of course children don't count.
Wait, do you know how many people are considered homeless in Chicago?
That's the point that I'm making.
80,000 people.
I think it's way.
Really?
I think
That's just the numbers in terms of what they got.
That's an under.
But that's a lot of people, though.
But that's an underestimate. I'm telling you it is, because the federal definition of homelessness is your name has got to, if your name is not on a lease. So if we're married, you and I, if we're not married, we just shacking.
Right.
And I
My
agree to
credit
pay,
bad.
and I agree to pay half, right? I agree to pay half.
Right.
And I'm making my payments every month and everything. But my name is not on the lease. Your name's on the lease. I'm homeless.
Okay.
According to the definition. You don't have to just be living in a car, living in an apartment.
Right.
You could just
Transition.
not have your name on the lease and not be married to the person.
Wow.
And so we have a lot of people, like maybe there's a child, like say as old as I am, maybe if I was living with my parents, but my name's not on the lease because I'm an adult,
Homeless.
then I'm homeless.
Homeless.
And so in the city of Chicago, that means that if you fit the federal definition of homelessness, then the school system is supposed to provide you all these different resources like travel to get back and forth to school,
Okay.
maybe a card, but it gets to be too expensive, the card like a bus card, but it gets to be too costly. So then they started changing it they started changing the phrases. Instead of homeless, they call them doubled up. And if you doubled up, that means that, it's your place, but I'm coming to stay with you, and you're okay with that, and you're in agreement with that. So you just write a little letter, say, yeah, she doubled up with us, or whatever. And then the school is no longer responsible for giving all these services because you agree to call yourself double up instead of agreeing to call yourself homeless.
Wow. Yeah, I would prefer double up. Now, let me put it to you like this, right?
So, I mean, one is definitely has more stigma attached to it, but you do end up with more services.
I'm a double up. I'm a double up, right? So we did this, right? So San Fran is considered to be notorious for having high rent. Do you guys have any idea what the average rent in San Francisco is?
Probably less. Is that what you're about to tell us?
No. $3,700 a month.
Well, what's
for a 2-bedroom?
And so, of course, this what do you call that? We just I can't even think what you get paid. What do we call that again?
Cost of living.
No. Minimum wage. Thank you. I'm
wage.
sorry. I don't know why my mind does that here.
Yeah.
But so minimum wage, that $15, is that for the nation?
Is
that the federal minimum
you mean
wage?
for the nation of Islam?
Stop it. The nation of the United States.
Right. So okay. So
that's the federal minimum.
Yeah, that's what they're shooting for. Would be the minimum wage.
Oh man, that's horrible. Yeah. You can't live in
New York, 3,300.
Oh, I knew
3,300 for average rent, right? So, but the idea is who's in charge? Like who's making this happen, right? So like who's making this cost of living go up like this, where they know? Because that was always my thing. Well, if we make the minimum wage go up, then that makes the price of hamburgers go up, right? It makes everything go up, right? So then you can't really keep up, ideally. So yeah, you paying me more, but the cost to live is going up too more. So it's not really making sense. And it's like, who's in charge? Who's allowing this to happen? Who's actually thinking about this and saying, yeah, these are good ideas, right? Yeah, let's keep making it difficult for the people who are on the bottom fueling all of this to make it work for them. I just don't. In LA, they got these pods now where people are living in literally 3x5 pods, and they're paying $800 a month for that. So you can't even stand up in it. All you do is lay in it.
Word?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Try to keep them calm though. Some people.
See, we got to keep calm from being in charge.
Some people be in charge. No, what I was gonna say though is like it reminds me of the gas prices, right? It's like the projection of why the gas prices rise up, because they anticipate the oil prices going up, so they just able to spike up the charge.
Especially around times when they know people are traveling, like now the holiday. I'm so mad I'm on E right now. I need to.
No, what I'm saying, like it's the concept of
Call in if you are on empty right now. Call in at 708-223-8953. Share with us a story how much you're going to pay in the next 24 hours to get gas, okay? And get these tickets to, Christmas around the world. On E.
But you one day gas is $2.25. The next day, just off
$3.
$3, just off of the projection. It's the concept of capitalism. It's just the concept of living in a capitalistic society. Whoever is able to create the inflation. Period. I mean, that's why ownership is important for anybody, because you can charge whatever you want to charge when you own something. So if somebody, that's why.
Message.
There is no got a message with. There is no real reason. It's just the nature of capitalism. There's no really. I got these tickets today. They're free, but if 30 people call in, we might go, for $10. These tickets now they're going for $10 now because we see opportunity in it. We see opportunity in supply and demand. For that demand, and I think that's the nature of it. In my opinion, it's just the nature of it.
No, I definitely can't argue with you there. That's true. I mean, when there's opportunity to capitalize, people capitalize, right? But there are some people who realize this is not an opportunity to capitalize. It's just like Ursula called in. Hey, I'm going to give them an opportunity to get their finances straight. I'm going to be intentional with them, let them know. There are some landlords who will walk in and say, hey, y'all got 5 days. Y'all got to get out, and then they're back at square one. See, there's some people who realize that it's just like police officers. I've driven sometimes and been, dirty, whatever. And I would always say to them, you have discretion. You don't have to lock me up. You don't have to give me a ticket. You have an opportunity to use your discretion. And that's when it comes to capitalism. Are people using discretion, or are they strictly purely about coming up? And that's it. I don't care about your plight. I don't care what you got that's on you, etc. And that's where I get in. That's where I'm, concerned in terms of how we living in Chicago and why the conditions keep getting worse and worse.
Tone Duncan. First of all, congratulations, Tone Duncan. I saw you just came back to Intellectual Radio on Monday nights at 7 p.m. Tone Duncan,
Okay.
A fantastic personality. He's just a unique brother that I've met. But he commented on Ursula's call. He said, did she really know what was going on with the tenant, or did she really rely exclusively on her perception?
That's a good point, brother. Sounds like he got a radio show.
Yeah, Tony.
But in addition to her perception, she had the information of them not paying the rent for 6 months.
That's true. And intuition. Because when you see things, you see certain things, baby diapers in a certain condition, that kind of indicates things. Let me let you know what my boy Ron say. He say the name of his new political party is The Rent Is Too Damn High. So what up, Pat? Pat, my man down in what's that? Fort Lauderdale jumped on. Appreciate you, brother. But anyway, let's go and jump into that now, because some people don't really know what's going on. Some people think that he won. Some people don't know, so they ask a question. So let's get into that. So it looks like he went through federal court the first time, and he lost or he won? I think he won. But no, he lost. No,
yeah.
he won.
No, the first time he lost.
Then
he took it to the ninth district court. Yep. Then he won those two.
He won that. Yep.
And then Comcast appealed and presented it toward the Supreme Court.
Right. So that was the but for or motivating factor clause of the 1866 Civil Rights Amendment. So essentially what Comcast is arguing, hey, he's going to have to prove that we didn't give him an opportunity. We didn't license his networks because he was black. That's but for, okay? Whereas the other aspect of it, where Byron is coming from, hey, we just need to prove that it was just a motivating factor. So yeah, you may not agree with our ratings and the kind of people we have, but it's also because we own black. We're a black-owned network that you didn't do it too. So for instance, one of his white executives reached out to Comcast, said to him, hey, why are we having to go through this? Let's just kind of work things out. And they said, man, we don't negotiate with terrorists. That's what they told Byron. They told his white executive that. Now, there's another guy who owns Dish Network who is way more relentless. I can't think of his name, but they were talking about it on Roland Martin. And they were saying that he's way more relentless, way more, like lawsuit happy. Because Byron was taunting the fact that, hey, I just have lawyers just to sue people. You know what I'm saying? So when you do things wrong, this man sued NAACP. He sued the Urban League because they was on some, dirt. So, but anyway, he was saying that considering they will still do business with the guy with Dish Network and his stuff, and he's way more relentless than me, it's got to be because I'm black. You know what I'm saying? So, and then plus somebody told him that we don't want another Bob Johnson. So right. That was also one of the other pieces. So that's kind of like what my take on it was. But there's a lot of other people who've joined the fight at this particular point.
Just to tie some points into what you just expressed, he was also talking about, he said he met with Coretta Scott King. He said he met with Martin Luther King Jr.'s wife. And he said there was 4 points that she made to him that was important, 4 phases that she thought was going to be real important in order for us as Black people to accomplish. The first one was to end slavery. The second one was Jim Crow, to end Jim Crow. The third one was to make sure we were establishing civil rights. So the first 3 was sort of accomplished. The third one she felt like Martin Luther King was killed for was economic inclusion.
Yes, he makes
the
that
fourth
point
one was economic inclusion.
Right.
So the point with Byron Allen, we bringing this up, economic inclusion, it's a system that makes sure that you are never able to sit at the table equally, or opportunities come organically for you. That's the point.
I got you. That's a good
They
point.
They never come organically. There's always some type of behind the scenes roadblock for you in place that you may not see. That's what Byron Allen is fighting for, to be able to see if we can peel back some of the onions to say, what is at the root of not allowing us to be able to sit at the table in a economic opportunity that is not rooted in bias, not rooted in trickery and racism.
Right.
Basically what it is.
This reminds me of all the times that I've had conversations with brothers and sisters about white supremacy is not a problem if you have money. And I
wait, you saying that?
No, I've heard people say this to me.
Okay. I was about to
like
say, B. Oh my God.
Other brothers and sisters.
We need to switch seats. No. No. I'm so okay. All right. Okay.
I don't agree with it. Okay. I don't, because because this is one of those most obvious pieces to that right here.
Right. It is.
Because
billionaire.
If like what both of you have said is that he wouldn't be going through these situations if he was a regular white dude.
And he almost white. I mean, he really is. He got a white wife. His mother, he grew up middle class. The brother,
he walks the walk.
Talks right. He talks. This guy was working for Johnny Carson at like 15, 14. Like, this dude he's been let in. But yet, at this level, they like, nah, bro, you're not about to make this bread. So, because the bigger issue is you got Aspire, you got the African Channel Network, you got what's the other one that the other one that's owned by either P. Diddy or Revolt, right?
Yeah, Revolt.
They have licenses. There's 7 black networks. They're licensed by them, but none of these networks are given in the basic packages of Comcast, which means that their viewerships are down.
Right.
And they're not getting any subscription fees. So they're only making their money off of advertising.
Like every time when I'm negotiating that, like when I'm calling to say, hey, I want, I don't want to lose my cable, I want to keep it. And they say, yeah, but I said, but I'm paying too much money. When I had that conversation, they say, well, we can give you $300 or you $200 or you whatever. I say, well, like for instance, it's TV One, because I know there's a lot of black shows or whatever on TV One. Like, will I get that? Oh, you do 200? They like, no.
But they
get that. So that's right. They do that on purpose. Not
yes.
just Comcast, but AT&T, Uverse, they do it
hurt
as well.
They hurt them. So they say, yeah, you own with us, but we're gonna put you at a disadvantage while you being owned with us. So for instance,
like the own network, the Oprah network, same thing.
They
make
it harder for you to get
you have
access.
to. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the key. And we're gonna make it more difficult for you to get access to the people who want to watch it. We're gonna make them pay more. People who make less money on average we're gonna make them pay more to get it because we know they want to listen to you. We know they want to get you in their homes. But yet we make more money off of them to do it, but we don't give you any of it.
I'm gonna have a Stephen A. Smith moment on Byron Allen.
Just don't start yelling at us, please.
Yeah,
No, I was just gonna say, it's like when I was listening to Byron Allen talk, I was like, was he really a household name? Is he really a household name amongst a lot of black people?
No.
No, a lot of people haven't heard of him. When I was bringing it up, a lot of people hadn't even heard of Byron Allen. Like, what are you talking about?
You told me how you had that TV show, and I was like, what? You said, yeah, it came out in like the 90s. You said, yeah, it was like, I said, around the same time that we was all watching Martin. No, we weren't watching.
It was before then.
It was before then.
It was
Because
so that must have been the late 80s then.
Even when we first got onto the platform of radio, the one individual I always thought about was Byron Allen. And the reason why, because I used to see that show and I'm like, man, this guy got the easiest show in the world. And what I mean by easy, he's like, hey, so Ernest, what did you do when you went down to California? And then the comedian just take over and start talking. And then he laughed. Benita, when you went over there to DC, what did you do? That was how his show went. I'm like, this dude. And when I found out that he was was a media mogul, I'm like, this guy? That's what made me think of it like that. So my point is, if he's not even a household name,
that's how you got to do it.
But that may be the reason why his climb has been as.
That's my point.
Okay.
That was exactly where I was going with it. You thinking about from the standpoint where he's sitting at talking to these people. We don't know who he is, but they know who this man is because their people buy his product. You know what I mean? He's a whole different type of threat to them sitting there.
Yes.
So when he's come talking about economic inclusion, it's just almost like, I don't want to say this because he has such a fascinating story about how he met Coretta Scott King to the point you can hear all the blackness in him.
Yeah,
you can hear it.
Oh, yeah.
But
he's solid.
Yeah, he's solid.
He's solid.
So
but the point is,
strategic
he's very strategic. This is a billionaire. This is not. This dude is not
on paper. I mean, like, and it's real money.
It's real money,
not just assets. Like, this dude got bread. Like he did a piece on BET Fireside Chat I watched a couple of years ago. Man, it was so inspirational just to hear his story. How he talked about how he got his car repossessed. He couldn't even pay his phone bill. You know what I'm saying? He and his mother were working in his living room trying to, do what he was doing in terms of how he made his money and how he used to have to go use the phone booth to convince people that he was still moving networks. You know what I'm saying? And this dude he couldn't pay his stuff. So he's a salesman. So that's the other piece we got to watch about. Right. Mm-hmm. He's a salesman. As I watched him on Rolling, I was like, oh, okay, I see you, bro. I see what you're doing. I can see your moves. Some of that stuff ain't true, what you're saying. However, I see you. You know what I'm saying? Because Roland was asking him some questions. Oh, I'll answer anything. I'll answer it. And Roland asked him a question. He didn't answer the question. He went on to something else. I was like, come on, Bobby. He didn't answer the question.
He didn't answer the Breakfast Club question when they asked him, like, Byron, how did you get the money to start the momentum of the businesses that you did? He didn't answer it. He just like, it's a lot of ways. It's a lot of ways. I said, man,
right. Yeah,
I said, that was a great answer.
Slick brother. He's a slick brother. And that goes back to your point about him being strategic. Because again, he was doing all of those shows back in the day in the 90s. I mean, again, this dude was writing for Johnny Carson as a kid. I mean, so that shows you his aptitude that he was able to write for adults to make adults laugh as a child. Right, but he talks about how he was hanging around NBC because his mother was an NBC producer or something to that effect, and how he was exposed to all of these people, and that's how he got the opportunity. So he always had the people to back him because he's a good guy. I mean, he's a nice guy. He's not no, kind of like hardcore,
Like his pants ain't hanging off.
Well, it was an interesting analogy. It was an internet when they used the comparison to Bob Johnson. Why didn't they say Oprah? Why didn't they say Michael Jordan? Why didn't they say other black billionaires?
Because Bob is a bad example in my judgment.
Who?
Bob Johnson is a bad example.
Well, they talk. I think. Well, just my perception of the example of Bob Johnson specifically, it was about being positioned to take over control of media outlets.
Oh, I got you.
But
in a much Byron narrative, he bought one of the biggest watch networks in existence in the United States. It's the Weather Channel.
Yeah, and they got an Emmy.
That means somebody is thinking behind this thing, and that's more of a threat to any type of.
But I think the Bob
dominant
Johnson
structure.
reference for me is Bob Johnson did a lot of things that were truly black for a lot of years.
Okay, true. That's true.
Like, and so I'm
What was
thinking
that? What was
maybe,
that? I'm sorry, let me jump in. What was that BET video thing they used to do at night? When it was, they had the music video, and it was like an X-rated kind of. Come on, Bob, you know what I'm talking about?
You say which
On
one?
BET, man. When they used to do late at night.
After dark.
It was the
BT After
tip
Dark.
drill.
Yeah, that was BT After Dark.
It was After Dark. Oh,
BT After Dark.
That's true black stuff, right?
How you just stereotype like I know what it was?
But I did though, because you was in a high school group where y'all was all that kind of stuff. So I know you know.
But yeah, so like if a person makes a comment like that, the first thing I would think of is, so you trying to dismiss me because I'm black,
Right, basically.
not necessarily because what
And you think about it. So again, Tone from ADOS makes a good point. The reason why Comcast picked up, they picked Jose said it was uncut. That's what it was. The video, it was uncut. Thanks, Jose. Shout out to the general. All right, so the reason why Tone believes that they picked up P. Diddy and what's the other brother, basketball player, Magic Johnson, their networks, because for them to not get paid by Comcast would, and for them to fail, because you all know P. Diddy had to fire a third of his staff because they couldn't pay, they couldn't keep up, right? So with the Comcast deal. So with that being said, they were thinking that P. Diddy wouldn't go public with this information because it would be opposite of his brand of success and aspirationalism, right? Hey, you just follow me and you can be successful in America. Just do what I did, right? That was his brand, right? So they picked him up because they knew he wouldn't say nothing. If you pick up a Byron Allen, you know he's strategic. You know he's smart. You know he's savvy. You know he's good at this. He's going to negotiate a way to make this happen. It's just like with the African Channel Network. The lady who is the CEO of that network now was with NBC Universal, who Comcast bought. And Comcast had to make the deal in order to get NBC Universal, which is a big network. In order for them to get, they had to make a federal commitment to say, we'll pick up 10 black networks, right? That's what they had to do. And she was a part of that deal. And she's saying, look, the MOUs were purposely set up to put these, it's a difference between, how they can play with you, where they put your channel, right? If your channel is 570 versus 32, those are things that they strategically do to capitalize off of you, right? Or to obviously put you in a disadvantage. So again, to pick Byron up and put him in that position, they already know they're gonna have to bow down. They know they're gonna have to do business. So for instance, one of the things Byron pulls out, right, is that the Urban League did an MOU on why Comcast was good for black people. Come to find out, dig this, the CEO of Comcast is one of the board members for the Urban League and gives them $1 million a year. Oh, no wonder you put out an MOU. Right. And guess what Byron did? He sued them. He sued Urban League. This is what y'all gonna do? And send the wrong message to black people. So when we say, man, what is he doing for black people? That's one of the things. Again, Jose says it all the time. I wish he would call in. He says, our leaders have sold us out at the highest level. We can call him by name. Let's look at what's the brother in New York?
Al Sharpton.
Al Sharpton. Let's look at the brother in Chicago. Jesse. Let's look at the Urban League. One of the things that Byron brought up.
President Obama. I mean, he called
yes, that's another one. That's another one, right? Let's look at what the brother NAACP. They was putting out all this information that they talking about black, and they found out that they didn't know. They just didn't know that this stuff was bad. And the brother from NAACP, not only did he step down, but he apologized. Hey, I got it wrong. I'm sorry, my bad. And Byron was like, see, that's a brother I can respect because we call him out on it. So that's what I'm saying. So when people are like, well, what is Byron doing for us? That's part of it. It's like straightening out this narrative that just because you got an opportunity don't mean you've been put in an advantage position. And that's terrible. And a lot of people don't understand that because they think, well, you actually own Comcast, you actually doing well. But they're not giving you any returns of the licensing. They're making $20 billion a year. And black networks are only making millions on that. That's no money. That ain't no money to stay in business. You can't pay hundreds of people. You can't fund networks. You can't fund cameras, getting new, you know what I'm saying? All of these things and being able to market the things to be able to keep up with your competitors. So here's another modern day way of the economic exclusion, which then they shut you out on big business level. And then even on the small level where again, when you look and you see where black folks working, where minorities are working, right? I go into businesses all the time downtown doing the work I do, contract work. And I had to ask, y'all ain't got no black people that work here?
Right.
And I mean, like you, and it's like, how do y'all advertise people? Well, black people don't apply for our jobs. How do they even know? Like for real, I walked into an office last week, man. Not one black person. And the black person that was there wasn't black. He was like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like, all right. Now, and then it's not no problem. I got friends that talk like that.
Yeah, I know.
But at the same time, there was nothing in him that resonated with me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Nothing. And I go into another one. I mean, beautiful facility. The only sister they got in the place, she got on a mini skirt, got all dolled up, and she at the front desk. Where are the black people? For real. Black people ain't make no money, and we claim we are because we spending it. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's my connection between the Byron Allen and Ray.
If you want to be diverse, you have got to solicit. You have to.
What you mean when you say that?
Well, like you have to solicit. You have to reach out. You have to ask them to apply. You have to go to them. Like for instance, I served as a conference program chair for about 4 different years for this organization that I was in, and as the chair. I worked it with another person. So as the co-chair, we only received proposals. Like when we were asking people to submit proposals to be presenters for the conference, we only received proposals from white people. We may have gotten 1 or 2 proposals from a black person or somebody who was wanting to speak about issues that regards anybody who's a non-white person.
We got a call. Thank you.
So in order to get them to come, because I wanted a diverse conference, I went out, I reached out, I solicited other people to come.
I got you.
Most
that makes sense.
Black folks, but I wanted it to be highly diverse, so of all races.
Yeah.
But I had to. We got a call.
We got Jose on the line. Peace, brother. Wait a Jose minute.
What's up, family? I was trying to catch up, man. I didn't catch the show late, man. Don't get off the clock, man. But I see y'all talking about Brian Allen.
Yes, sir. That's what we had with it, bro.
Yes, sir. Did y'all talk about the interview he did with Roland Martin?
A little bit. I brought in some of the pieces with that, but what you got with it, though?
Well, one of the things I like when he talked about is when I just heard you, he made a statement. He said, "What I'm doing." There's 2 things he said. What I like. He said when he was doing the Civil Rights Act, he said, "What are you doing to protect your rights?" But they go back to this piece where he was dealing with people. When you mentioned how he sued the brothers from the NAACP, he's saying anybody that does anything against our people, he's gonna take action against that. So when you talk about what is he's doing things that we really don't hear in the mainstream media, because things of that nature they keep it silent, because that's something that tells us, okay, there's a betrayal going on here. That's the word I like to use more so than sellout. To me, betrayal, because when you talk about strategy, betrayal is more of a word they deal in the military fashion, because that's what's really happened. And there's a more serious implication to that when you're talking about betrayal more so than somebody selling out. But that means they have no thoughts about progress at all.
And that's a good point you bring up, because that reminds me of why we don't really know about the slave revolts, because that was an important strategy for slave owners back then to keep that information on the low, because they didn't want other slaves knowing that. And it's the same thing with why the Byron Allen piece it really went viral after he did the Breakfast Club. It was like, everybody know about what he's doing now, right? And that was a good thing for him, because people didn't know how he was challenging. I didn't even know until I watched the Roland piece that how he was suing black folks. Right? Like, man, y'all on some BS. No, y'all got the drop. No, y'all hurting black people. So, and y'all taking y'all position yourself in the sense as if you're in position to help black people.
Right.
but you're really hurting black people. And it takes somebody on his level to be able to see it, the ripple effects, to be able to say, okay, let me do something about that. So that's a good point, brother.
Correct. And I'm going to add this piece too, because what he's doing, I equate it to shock therapy. It's so shocking to what he's doing that it's causing us to have the kind of effect where we can't believe it. We can't believe it. It's shock therapy.
Good point. Talk more about that.
Like, dude, I was like, often say, like, do we even have any options? Like, it's like, well, what we will or won't believe, because it's like sometimes you're so excited about people being in position, you know, you don't want to be the one to cut, you know, shut them all the way down if they're gonna get shut down. You don't want the expressions to come from, come from you. That reality come from you and your expressions. You know what I mean?
But that's like
So,
Anthony he says here, even the politicians we vote for and elect don't properly represent us. And it's kind of hard to come after like a Lori Lightfoot, because, hey, you know, she's black and represents that minority bloc. So it's like, you know, that's a sister that's in office. Do we really challenge her? Another option is to look at the treasurer now, the city treasurer, who lost her 24/7 security protection from the Chicago police. Lori told her, hey, you don't need that. So what did she do? She hired a private firm with public money to protect her 24/7. This is a treasurer of Chicago. We looking at her like, but she a sister though. So, you know, do we give her a pass?
I'm just saying, when we chop down, just say people of color from positions, or black people, just call it what it is, black people. When we chop them down out of position, well, 9 times out of 10, they replacement ain't gonna be what we was just comfortable with.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just for the sake of
Fox.
You know what I'm saying? You want to stay comfortable. Just say on the white end of things, if white people cut down one of their own, they got one of their own position to replace one of them.
Right.
Like, in a sense.
True.
You know what I mean?
That.
And that'll make you more tolerant of what behaviors some black people, we know they ain't all the way right. It'll make you a little more tolerant of what they do just based off their position as well.
And I guess that's why we've tolerated the Jesse Jacksons, you know, up until Mike Brown. Because I remember when the people, man, they was like, why are you here in St. Louis? Why are you here? Right. And that's why we've tolerated the Al Sharptons, because that was all we had, you know, to really represent us.
Yeah. Hey, I like to make this point. A brother told me one time, he said one of the things that we have that goes against us paying us forward is our humanitarian. We have a high level of humanitarian where we're willing to forgive each other real quick. You know what I mean? And we're more sympathetic. So if somebody politically do us wrong in office, we'll be sympathetic for the individual because we have I understand why he did it, like mindset. But at the same time, it's hurting us. So I think what's happening right now in this time that we in, more things is coming out, because now that Diddy, whatever he called himself now, said what he said. I'm looking to see who's next. I'm looking for Magic Johnson to say something. I'm looking. I'm sitting back and I'm waiting. I'm looking to see. Yeah, you're right. We're not receiving any resources from Scripture. That's what I'm waiting to hear.
Do you honestly think he's going to say something?
No, I don't. But I'm looking for a chain reaction out of this. I just can't see, because Diddy did some things I don't agree with over the years. But for him to come out like this, for him to say what he said, even if it was just his lawyers that typed it up for me, he just signed it. For him to even go with it, it shows some type of change. It shows a type of change that's taking place. That where the energy is there, that if we latch on to it, we can make the change go in our favor. But if we continue to be more so humanitarian for those that keep screwing us over, we'll stay in this rut we in.
True that. I was very surprised when I saw it. My mouth was open. Like, you know how you go to your phone and you go to Google, and when I saw it, I'm like, really? P. Diddy made a statement against Comcast, like publicly, like basically saying, and when I read it, I'm like, he basically saying, keep my name out your mouth. Don't say you paying me, because you're not paying me, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be truthful about what's really happening here. Now, he really broke the case open to another level. And that was what some of the questions on here that, you know, people were saying, is he winning the case? Is Byron really winning? Well, based on what the questions that the Supreme Court justices were asking, it really seems like they're going to rule in his favor, even with it being a conservative court. Because, like, even Jose, when we talked, you hit me with if the court doesn't choose in his favor, you know, this is going to cripple black folks in the long run. And it does. A lot of people don't see the implications of this. If the court rules and says, but for, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you got fired because you was black, but there was some other stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? That hurts us because you got to prove that they fired me only because I was black. That's hard to do. And no lawyer is going to represent you, you know, how they do, you know, pro bono before you get paid. You know, a lot of lawyers say, well, once you get your settlement, a lot of them are already going to know, man, I'm not about to represent you because you're not going to get paid. You're not about to win this. So that hurts. And then that gives these companies more power to discriminate against us because of our color. Now you got Anthony on here talking about, you know, that we not people of color. I understand where you're coming from, brother. That's true. But in terms of being able to talk in a way that people understand, and I understand we do have to change that narrative. So I'm not disagreeing with you, AO, but at the same time, this is what this nation has classified us as black, white, even though the people who are black are not black and the people that are white are not white. You see what I'm saying? That's a very major contradiction. So we do have to keep that consciousness in our head.
I've seen white people.
Well, yeah, I have to. I've seen some black people too.
White right there.
I saw a purple lady.
Purple. So
Hey, can I say two more things though? Because you know I got to challenge you on that one, Ernest.
Oh, come on, brother.
I got to challenge you on that.
Man, you know I ain't scared. Let's go, brother.
People of color cannot be a description for it. Just cannot, because by language usage, it eliminates black. It eliminates. Even if you say it ain't what it does, when we say black, it ties us with us. When you say people of color, it ties us with everybody else.
Right.
We need a distinct separation from us and everybody else. So if you don't, I understand you when you're coming from black, white, ain't white. I get that. But it has to be a word that used that only describe us. So if you want to say Moors, if you want to say whatever,
Negro,
it has to be a term strictly designed for us, the American descendants of slavery, not slaves, but slavery. That describes us, nobody else. That's why we get pushback, because under the people of color guidelines, they can grab another ethnicity.
Truth.
What's for us, you know what I'm saying? And the last thing I want to say about what Byron said, I think this was the killer because I finally watched that. You requested that I did. Unless I heard him wrong, he told Roland Martin, he said, even if the Supreme Court don't rule in our favor with this act, we still got enough to battle Comcast.
Yep, he did say that.
So his main thing was, what are you doing? Because for him, the thing is that make people, because I think what he did, he made the whole nation aware that Civil Rights Act is under assault, is under attack. That's what he did.
True.
Because I want to say this, come on, based on how I'm hearing it, because I try to be a good listener. He's using that act to deal with discovery. Do discovery in court stuff, court law. You can find out things about it. So there's things other companies are doing, such as Comcast, we don't know nothing about.
Right.
But through discovery, we can find out what they're doing.
Right.
So Byron is using that act to engage in discovery, to show and prove that, hey man, you are discriminating against my network. Comcast has said we're gonna use the Supreme Court to get rid of the act, period.
Right. Right. To change how the act is applied.
Act is applied. But so for me not to get too lost on this, the main thing is Byron said we can still battle Comcast whether they throw it out or not. But was at stake civil rights in relationship to be able to say, hey, this happened to me because I was discriminated upon because of my race. And that's what's important.
Like Byron
I had leading with this last thing, and I'll definitely show. But tomorrow being a holiday, what is going to be the conversation at the dinner table at your house? Not yours, but all of us house. What's going to be the conversation about? The games? Because there's 3 games tomorrow. Or we're going to be dealing with social issues.
What games?
What is the conversation?
What games?
Football, man. You know they play football every Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? So what is the conversation going to be about? Is it going to be about social issues, a political agenda, or what? And that's what I want to leave us with.
That's good.
Happy holidays to you, brother.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Hey, you get some of these tickets, man. You can take you and your baby mama and baby mamas. How many people you know that? Because he got about 8 baby mamas. No, he got 13 queens, man. That's what he got 13 queens. How y'all gonna fit in that car? But y'all got tickets, man, to go to the Christmas around the world, brother.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And thanks for that point too about the clarifying the color piece. You know, I forgot, bro. I just wasn't speaking from my righteous mind. But you are right. We do have to clarify our status. And you're right, putting the fence around us the way Yvette and the way Tone talk about it is that we are the descendants of slavery and not slaves. And that's not really just, about simply color. However, you did just mention that we are being discriminated against because of color. Or is it that we are being discriminated against because we are descendants of slaves?
Well, I think it's definitely because of the black folk, because the other colors shows, like for instance, they don't do the same thing to Telemundo that they do to us.
Well, I want to say, just throw that last point, that both Byron Allen and Comcast got 30 minutes each to speak in front of the Supreme Court. And Comcast gave up 10 of their minutes to President Trump's Department of Justice.
How about that?
To speak on behalf
How about that?
Yeah, so
How
that was an
about
important
that?
fact to throw in there about the significance of the case from the eyes of Byron Allen, the concept of inclusion, so we can understand what it means. Why would we have a president send his Department of Justice to get involved to speak?
Come on, man.
That was deep, bro. A clarifying commentary.
Trying to make sure that everybody knows that, hey, it's not us, it wasn't me.
Right.
Yeah, that was it wasn't us, it wasn't me moment.
And that kind of goes back to Byron. See, they really have a bone to pick with Byron because he sued Obama for the military contracts. Hey, y'all supposed to be doling out a certain percentage of this military money to black companies to market the military. That's not happening, Obama. And again, I'm not trying to hate on the brother. Like I say, he got a beautiful family. But at the same time, he's another brother put in position that looks like he's helping us, but there's really no material progress happening for our communities. Because again, if there, let's say for instance, if there's a $1 billion contract each year, and 20% of that is supposed to go to African American companies, that's a lot of money. That's what, 100 million? That's $100 million. You putting $100 million in black communities, that's black people working. That's black people, got money to put gas in their car. That's black people that's got money to do business with other black people or whoever else, right? And again, these are the trickle-down effects. If you get Byron Allen one of these contracts, or if you start paying P. Diddy the money that they deserve, that's 1/3 of his population of people that he had to fire who's now unemployed, depending on the government, to pay them. They could have been getting money that they earned. It's something about these people that want us to be on their nipples.
Like I can't not talk though without talking about the fact of looking at opportunity, what type of opportunities out there, period. Because debt, when you think about debt, right? The whole country is in debt. The United States of America is a country that everybody just wants something with money that they don't have.
True.
And because of that, in reality, there's always some opportunity or some type of strategy that can be implemented from anybody, the land of opportunity, from anybody that can, if with the right capital prioritized in the right way, you can make a come up in like almost one generation just off the nature of debt that's out here.
True.
Repossession. People, it just if you lose repossession, that's exactly what it is. If you lose control of some land, some property, or whatever you have, and the right people come along, it almost reminds me of what the Hispanics do, like the ones who mow lawns and stuff like that. I remember living in Chicago Heights, they were almost just purchasing houses cash. You know what I mean? When they buy a house, it's just almost like cash. It was like paying cash for it. That's coming up. That's considered coming up. Anytime you could be able to purchase land cash like that. So with all that's being said, the instinctive nature of debt creation in America creates opportunity on the other side of it, in my opinion, for anybody who prioritizes their strategy in the right way.
It does. But see, the problem with that though is like Mexicans come over and they're in a different position. They're connected to their land, they're connected to their people, they're connected to their history, they're connected. Black folks ain't connected, man. Ghana did the same thing. Hey, black folks, come on over here. Black folks is not in a position to really come up and take advantage of the opportunity over there. And black folks here in America, and again, not all black folks, but the way Boyce Watkins puts it is that what black person do you know can buy 20 Popeyes chickens right now and put them across the nation? Call in if you know that. 708-223-8953. I would like to meet that person. And there are black people who can buy 2 or 3 McDonald's or Popeyes, but can they buy 20? That's a big difference. That's long paper. That, you know what I'm saying? So in Mexicans, they have a different culture again. So when it comes to buying properties, you got black folks out here buying properties, man. You got black folks out here working together buying properties, but it has a different impact in our community than it does in theirs, right? Because they have different values, they have a different setup, and they have places to go. We don't. Where do we go, Benita? Where do we go where there's all black people? We there or whatever, and it's our laws run by us. Where do we go? Mexicans have that. Hispanics have that. Puerto Ricans have that.
That's why you asked me. Y'all asked about the question of the day. I want to
Slow the anger question.
No, the question about what you thankful for.
Hold on, wait a second. Is
Jose, you still
General?
on there?
You still on with us?
No, I heard.
Okay.
Anyway,
thank you, General, for calling.
so if you wanted to share about what you're thankful
Yeah, I hit it on mute.
He just came out of nowhere, man. Yeah.
General, I just wanted to help close you out properly. Are you are you ready to sign off?
Yes, I am.
Oh, well, thank you so much for calling in. Have a good night. Happy holy days to you.
Yes, sir.
Y'all see that feminine energy? Make sure this being done right. See, that's what's missing out here. That feminine energy.
Right, yeah, because we was like, man, I thought he hung up, man. He gone,
Right. I talked to him like,
happy holiday, dude.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Deuces. Like,
yeah, she all polite and stuff.
she's like, yes, General. Like,
Yes, thank you.
sign you off properly, my brother.
All right, brother. Peace.
Queen.
Right.
At any rate, so you were making a point about the.
Do
you remember your
I forgot what we was talking about. Actually.
We tired now. We tired, y'all. We've been talking almost 2 hours
Right.
straight.
I know we was talking about. I think it's opportunity. The question of the day was that's about worldview. That's my point. To me, worldview is vital, and whatever strategy is coming into play, whatever strategy of talking, of living, of learning, your worldview is important because it really helps shape your thought process to broaden yourself outside of the limitations of what you've been exposed to. You know, you get to start seeing different things. See, a lot of times when I listen to a lot of philosophical patterns of people, I listen to the limitations of their worldview based off of, most people have not even left Chicago or not even left their neighborhoods. Live and die in your old neighborhood. That is not good. You even in comparison, when you make comparison to what poverty looked like, I think Ernest was making a point earlier during the show about how if you somewhere and you overweight and you got some weight on you, people like it, they don't identify you being impoverished, and that's how we are. Our impoverished people are well fed over here. Right? You know what I'm saying? You go somewhere in some villages in Africa, you might be walking around all pudgy looking, man. You might look back, man, might be a whole village following you, trying to figure out where you going. So worldview, just to my point is worldview, I think is something that's undervalued in the mental development of strategy.
I'm sorry, we got a caller, so we got a little distracted there. But caller, you are on Chi-Rize Radio, Intellectual Radio, as a matter of fact. Tell us who you are.
Hey, my name is Nicole Carson. I'm calling from Beverly, South Side of Chicago.
South Side? Y'all don't get a real South Side.
Beverly.
Beverly.
I just want to call in to say how grateful I am just to actually just be basically just living. Of course, everybody want to have these big old houses, big luxury cars, that be taking down for their health. And just to be here, age is 50 years old, not married, single, got grandkids. But just, I've been following you guys for a minute on Facebook.
Nice.
And just having a positive attitude. My job just let me go Friday, but that's all a blessing to me.
Okay.
I worked in a retirement home. It's at 5550 South Shore Drive, Montgomery. Know if that rings a bell in Chicago here. But yeah, so life has been kind of ups and down, but other than that, God is still willing and able. So
okay.
It's just time for you to open up your own. It's time for you to open up your own spot. That's what this is. Your job that you go for.
That's exactly what it is.
You know what I'm saying? It's time.
God wants, he's pushing me to do better. I don't know. I have a vision.
Okay.
Been had a vision for a while. I always wanted my own little business. Actually, to help out younger boys and girls, kind of like a boys and girls club youth program, and that's my goal. So, hey, to 2020, let's go. Let's get this going.
That's right.
Do positive things. Be around positive real people. Had a little. You know, you got your haters out there. You know how it is. I'm put it out there. You got your haters. You got to pray for them. Know how that can be. And just be around positive, real people. You know, I have a lot of Facebook friends that we had a kind of big. I will listen to you guys talk about stuff. Yeah, they got all that because they try to keep their little stuff in the household. They the one with the big cars. They the ones with the jobs. They they don't have time for topic drummers. So we are going into, we ain't got that long now for 2020 in here. Everybody needs to get in a positive real circle. It's not what you call cutting nobody off, but you need to have positive real people, thinking in life, stuff like that. So
I'm with you on that, Nicole. Hey, make sure you reach out to us on Facebook Messenger. There's some people, especially if you're really talking about creating a social service organization that will help with people. I know people who write grants. So just reach out to us on Facebook Messenger so that way we get your contact information and connect you with some people, okay?
Also, so that we can send you the ticket.
I sure will do that.
Also, since we need to have your information so that we can give you you won for calling in today.
Yeah.
We were handing out tickets on the show today, so you won 2 passes to the Museum of Science and Industry.
What?
Yes. Yeah, you won. A voucher for Christmas around the world. And let's kind of give you a few more details on it for those of you that still have not called in. Each Explorer 1 ticket includes museum entry plus one of the following special experiences: Coal Mine, the U505 on-board tour, and the OmniMax film or Future Energy Chicago. And this is sponsored by our host here, our brother, Robert Orr. Coming to the stage. Yeah, so you get that. So make sure you give us your info in Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, we have a Chi-Rize.
I sure will.
Yeah, we got the Chi-Rize page. If you're on our Chi-Rize page, you can send the inbox to us there.
Okay, I sure will do that.
And thanks for your comment.
So how do I do it again?
Say it again.
Inbox you?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay, all right.
Peace.
What?
Sorry.
Just repeat inbox number.
I'm top there.
Oh, say that again. Say that again, Nicole. We missed you.
I appreciate you guys. Listen to my little speech there. I think I was giving out a speech.
Okay, we're listening to a next business owner.
Talking. We all talking
to a business owner right now.
We appreciate your comment, and we also appreciate you sharing that hope with us. We really needed that.
Yeah,
because
everybody needs to. They just need to be grateful. You got a little job, keep your job. If you ain't in the hospital and your kids is connected with you, people be worrying about the wrong stuff. Just be grateful. Grateful if you got just some hot dogs in the refrigerator. Hey, you got something. You know what I'm saying? Thanksgiving is one day, so everybody needs to be grateful.
That's true.
Thank you.
Need to be grateful.
Yeah, I like how you called in and said what you was grateful for. Then you mentioned, hey, how you had lost your job, but yet your attitude was in the right space.
I'm still standing. I gotta have a positive attitude. I got to know that there's something else. I don't know what God has in store for me, but there's something else He wants me to do. He'll move you.
That's right.
He'll move you when you don't want to move yourself. Like, wait a minute, God, I want to kind of get one more check here. No, that's not what I want you to do. gotta know that when God gives you keys, all keys are not open for all doors. You know, you gotta know that even if you got one door to apartment and you don't have a back door, well, God gave you that door. He can give you an apartment for, a lot of people don't understand. Every door is not for everybody. Everybody don't win.
That's right.
It's not your turn yet. When your turn comes, your winner might be a little bit much bigger. You don't know what it is. You don't know if it's family. You don't know if it's health. You don't know if it's a business. You just don't know. So you got to keep a positive attitude.
That's true. Another thing
That's
you said.
Where I'm at right now.
Another thing you mentioned is also just realizing as we go into 2020, that's a prophetic message you said. Is about cutting people off. You didn't say, you said not about cutting people off, but eliminating people out of your circle, or let them eliminate themselves out your circle.
Exactly. And don't take it as a fault, or you let it be a seed at you. Well, I shouldn't do that. No, you have to do what you got to do go forward. Don't take it as a loss. Just take it as something you needed to do. It's just like medication. You need to take this medication for whatever reason you have to take it. But at some point, you just have to cut some things out, like my eating habits, eating too much salt, eating too much sugar. Some things you just got to cut off.
All right.
Got to cut it off.
That's what I'm talking about. Cut it off. Cut it off.
Well, you have a good holiday. And thank you.
Okay, you guys, happy Thanksgiving to you.
All right.
You too, sis. Thanks again for calling in. Peace out.
That's funny. I just wanted to name, based off of her call, I just wanted to name a few things that some people did before they became celebrities, before they became famous.
Come on, give it to us, brother.
President Obama used to work at Baskin Robbins.
Get out of here. Is that when he was doing heroin?
That was probably that. Whoopi Goldberg used to be a mortician.
What? I can see that.
A more beautician.
Oh, a beautician. Wait, a more beautician.
It's the same thing.
I can see that. Yeah, I guess
it's funny.
Mortician.
Kanye West used to work at the Gap.
Yeah, he said that in one of his songs.
What, the Plaza?
On 95th Plaza. That was interesting. It's just like you never know what you.
Robbins.
And Jennifer Hussey used to work at Burger King back in the late 20s.
I think I probably ran into her.
You tried to holler at Jennifer.
She probably wasn't that fine then, but I still tried to holler. Yeah, Burger King. I want to get them free fries.
2 tickets left. We got 2 tickets left. Right? We got 2
tickets left. We got Ursula. We got
708-223-8953.
Jose.
708. Tell us why you're thankful. Tell us why you're thankful.
Yeah, tell us why you're thankful. Or tell us how much you're paying in rent. Or tell us if you on E right now. If you on E and you don't know where you need to go.
Scared to go to the gas station during the holiday when they skike up or rike up or jack up the prices.
Talk to us.
Listen, I wanted to respond to something that you said before we had Ms. Nicole call in. Bob, you were talking about people's view of the world, their worldview.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's important regardless of whether your view, anytime somebody's viewpoint is one particular viewpoint, then it's, so for instance, maybe you might have the viewpoint of poverty as well as the viewpoint of middle class, right? So then that increases your worldview. Or if you have the viewpoint of traveling to different countries, or if you have the viewpoint of being in upper class or wealthy versus So anybody who can kind of do a 360 around the world of their worldview. So I like your word that you use, worldview, because that reminds me of a full 360 of being able to see it all around. I think anytime somebody is, just sitting from looking at it from one particular view, and I noticed that a lot when in this one particular time I was dating somebody who's from like a different view than I was, and so I got to see things differently. Like I remember one time he was teasing me and he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna get you high tonight, smoke some weed." And I was like, "I don't do that." I was like, "You're not gonna corrupt me." He said, "Corrupt you." And then, but then his uncle was nearby, and his uncle was one who said that, he was just being playful and teasing me because he knows that I don't do that. But his uncle said, "Corrupt you over some weed?" But he said it with such disdain that it had me feeling like, I guess it is just basic for y'all. Like this is regular.
Right.
Like everybody is doing this. Like this.
French.
So what happened is
French
it opened up my eyes to a whole nother community of people who just regularly do that.
Right.
Whereas the viewpoint that I had prior to that was I never even noticed. Like I didn't even know people were smoking weed like that. I didn't know it was that thick, right? So then that helped me to be a better servant on my job. One day,
Okay.
the DCFS worker called and she said, "Hey, I noticed I saw your name here, and I'm thinking about taking these children away from this family, or whether I should keep it as an intact family. But I don't know. I want to talk with you about it first. I want your insight first." I said, "Okay, well, what's going on? Why are you feeling like you want to take the children away from the family?" She said, "Well, the son smokes weed." And so this is now, I don't have my limited viewpoint anymore. Now I have the viewpoint of, so does everybody else on the block, right? So does everybody else in the city. There's a lot of people who do that. And so then I pointed out to her, I said, "Well, do you know that he has the cognitive level of a 6-year-old, even though he's 14? Do you know that his mother works very hard to get him, to school and all that, but he has to walk on his own? Do you know that he's literally stepping over people smoking weed on the way to school?" And so after taking all of that stuff in, she said, "You know what? I'm going to make it an intact family. Thank you very much for your insight."
Yeah.
But I have a lot of people that I work with who think that smoking weed is the devil, the enemy. You're like a bad person if you do that, and because of that limited viewpoint. So I just want to share that story.
That reminds me of Dave Chappelle. That show he did back in the day. What was it?
Half baked.
Half Baked.
Well, see, I saw Half Baked when I was younger in my 20s, but from my perspective, whoever was smoking weed was out there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It wasn't anybody in my circle, or and I just am so ignorant to it. I didn't really know because in college everybody was doing it, but I didn't pay attention to it like that. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just not my thing.
I mean, remember he goes to the anonymous program, and like all these people doing hard drugs, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm in here for weed." And they like, "You on weed? Like weed? Get up out of here, man! This dude, you know what he does for crack? You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, it is. It's a what, like context is very important. You know what I'm saying? And worldview, being able to see things. In political science, we always studied. I remember when I was introduced to the concept of levels of analysis. You can look at things from a local view, from a community view, individual view, national view, state view, world view, international view, business view. So there's just always different ways of looking at things, and that's really critical for us as we move forward, because there's been a lot of nuggets we've dropped in this conversation. Like I'm telling you, man, we killing the game. Chi-Rize is off the chain. Y'all need to make sure y'all here every week, following us at 7 on Wednesdays. But I mean, think about some of the nuggets we've heard. Rob talking about the worldview, giving us a perspective, being able to see things. It's just like Ursula called in, said she had never seen poverty. Had a brother on here at AO saying, "Hey, in Chicago, man, poverty is rampant. South side, east side, north side, west side, poverty is everywhere. Right off the expressway, you can see it. You can see when I worked for the homeless shelter, we called it the working homeless. Like people who actually work and they're homeless. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally, they are working jobs, but they are homeless families, right? Or barely holding on to their homes. It's all around
and
us.
keeping in mind the federal definition of homelessness, it's like a lot more people are dealing with this than we really think.
And you think about this, the stigma of really calling it homelessness, as opposed to saying double up, because people don't know what you're talking about. So you talk in ways that people don't really see how bad or extenuating the circumstances is. And so that way, when it comes upon you think you don't even realize, like, dang, this been happening to people for a long time. And Americans, it's just so much happening to our people, the interior of our people. Byron Allen made that point that our population is growing to 10 billion people in the world. But those 5 billion on the bottom, we're not going to have enough to feed everybody. There's not going to be enough resources to house everybody. There's not going to be enough jobs. Man, he killed me with this stat. In China right now, they're 2/3 of our population. Let me switch that back. Guess how many students they have in college right now? They have over, oh my God, I forgot the number, 200 million college students in school right now. That's 2/3 of our population. He was talking about money is going to follow the intellectual capital. What's going to happen to the United States when these kids come out trying to get jobs?
Who they gonna work for?
Right.
Yeah. Well,
So
we got to. Unfortunately, we cannot talk with you all day long.
These are my tickets.
So
Come in with me.
we've
Ernest
got
won.
to say goodbye, you all.
Me and Benny
And
going.
I don't know if our sister Dana is gonna be coming on tonight or not, but she usually comes on after us. So check our show out too. We are Chi-Rize on IntellectualRadio.com.
Chi-Rize.
Facebook. Check us out.
And please check us out whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, iHeart, iTunes, Spotify, and Spreaker. And that basically concludes our show.
Happy holiday! Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Give homage to your
Thank you for
ancestors.
listening, everybody. Downloading, sharing this podcast. We really appreciate that.
I gotta read this though. My cousin said he's thankful for having Robert Orr as a cousin. My man Robert Cullen.
He gets the tickets.
Say keep your 2020 and 2020 vision.
I love it. That's a good point. Love y'all.
Love y'all. Deuces. Thanks for all the comments.
And my thing just switched up on his own. How about that? It just turned around. As we announced tonight.
Yeah,
man.
Okay, Rob, let me hear you. Go ahead.
yo. I bet the greatest tragedy could be reality. It's my confession that when we stress and the lesson is the blessing. This consequences.